It's an honor to be here. I just can't imagine. It's one of my wildest dreams to be here because, I figure that if you work with kids and you have a positive attitude, they're going to be honored, which I never thought it would happen, and it did. It's kind of funny because when I was young, I used to live in South Tucson on 30th and 10th, and we played ball till midnight. And we played ball with bird kids that we stole from the South Tucson police so we can play ball. And we played till somebody broke a window, so that's where my love for baseball came. We just played ball all night long. Like anything else, you have to have inspiration. My inspiration came with my family, my brothers and sisters. My brothers and sisters always supported me. I'm from a small community. We have infield dirt that is called caliche that we play on. And I remember one day, I was going to be my first day of coaching in Clifton after I just started baseball. There's a famous man called John Lujan that helped me out for 25 years, my assistant coach. He wasn't there the first day of practice, and it was raining that day. And I kept looking at the field, and I was all excited because I had 17 ball players show up. And for a small community, 17 is a big number. So we're going to have baseball practice, but it rained. So I kept looking at the infield, and it had a lot of caliche rocks all over the place. I looked in the outfield, and it looked like a painted desert in the outfield. What happened was that the mine had used our outfield for castic acids, and it had leached through the ground. So we didn't practice that day, but later on we did. Matter of fact, that year we won state, so I was pretty lucky. So we have situations like that in small communities where you're just lucky to have a baseball team and play. We're well known in our area. Clifton Marinci area is well known for baseball. I coached a lot of summer league here in Tucson with Oscar Romero and Frank Trujillo, American Legion Baseball. I also did Sunnyside, and I did a lot of traveling, I did a lot of baseball in this area. I was the first freshman to throw a no-hitter at Pueblo High School in 1964. I was inducted into the Pueblo Hall of Fame. After that, I got to go and meet Rudy Castro, who actually got me an education to go to Eastern Arizona Junior College. And I played for Rudy, and he's the one that got me a full ride to EA. And I played there for 2 years with Chuck Levetter. After that, I continued on, and I went to Pima College. At Pima, I hooked up with Larry Toledo, who was athletic director at Pima, and also Armando Mudieta, who was at Pima, and Armando Valenzuela. And at the time, Pima didn't have an athletic program. So we got together and started an intramural program at Pima, and we started baseball. And Richard Allday became our first baseball coach. That's when Pima started baseball. So I've been pretty lucky. I've been pretty blessed to be around good people and also good students. And like all the coaches know, if you don't have weapons, you're not going to go too far, but I was pretty lucky to have enough players that played. My inspiration, like I told you earlier, came from my wife, which is Mercy. Mercy, I love you so much. Also my sons, okay? I have, which I call Carlos, Esteban, Mario, Sofia, Orlando. And my inspiration also came from my brothers. My brother Dickie. Now Dickie's in heaven right now, cheering on for the Wildcats. And I'm quite sure he's kind of mad because they can't play defense, There's no pass defense for the Wildcats. My brother Henry, Hector, Arturo Carlos, my sisters Mary and Lydia. They're my inspiration, and I love you all. When I went down to Pima College, that's kind of funny. I got my grades going. I wasn't the smartest guy in the world, but I worked and worked and worked because I like sports. I got a full ride down at EA. Then I came back to Pima, and I was hanging around guys that were just regular part-time students, right? So you hang around with those guys at all. So I followed them, and I said, what class are you going to take this year? I said, I'm going to take so-and-so, So I took the same class they did. I finally got a counselor. They told me, why are you taking those classes again? He says, you don't need those classes. You already took them 3 or 4 times. I found out that I needed 60 credits. I had 180 credits that I didn't even need, So I kind of changed my routine around a little bit, It was kind of funny. I went to the University of Arizona after I got my AA degree, and this is true, okay? I went to the financial office to go get my transcripts. They said, okay, go to the next building and come back. So accidentally, I went to the admissions office. And when I went down to the admissions office, they looked at my transcripts from Pima College, and they noticed I got straight A's. I don't know how, but I got straight A's. And I got a full ride academic at the University of Arizona. That's how I graduated from university. I'm going to mention some people that were part of my life. There's a man called John Lujan in Clifton, Arizona, who's fabulous. He's a legend. And right now he's in heaven, probably coaching the World Canyon Bears. And he's a man that loved baseball. Okay, he coached for me for 25 years. And it's funny because when I got there to Clifton, I wasn't actually from Tucson. He's the one that introduced me to all the players, their parents, their attitudes, the way people work in small communities, especially mining towns. And John was the one that kind of supported me and helped me through all my seasons as a baseball coach. And like I said, he's a man that people respected, people loved, and just being around him because he understood how to react with students, especially in small communities, because you're lucky if you have 20 kids that want to come out. I even had a couple of girls that wanted to play baseball because it's a small area. And with Mr. Lujan, who's in heaven right now, coaching baseball, doing the World Canyon Bears, I sure missed you, John, and I know you're looking down at us, and you take care of yourself up there, okay? I was lucky enough that in April the 19th, 2014, they named the Clifton baseball field in Clifton, John Lujan Gilbert Mesa Trojan Field, for our dedicated service to the community and to baseball. It's an old baseball field, all caliche. The fence, you can't run to the fence because you might get stuck in the fence, okay? So, but it's one of the best fields in the old-fashioned baseball, It's one of the things that you always love in small communities. I'd like to thank Ron Aguayo, one of my friends also, that helped me work with any problems I had with rules, regulations, and the small town politics in Clifton. Also, I wanted to thank Regina Calderon. She helped me acclimate myself to the Apache culture, because I taught at Fort Thomas High School at St. Carlos. I also taught Apache social studies. It's a whole different experience, but it was pretty nice. I also had a man called Charlie Henfield. He's the one that tried to keep Clifton alive, because at the time Clifton was being closed down, and he had the idea to keep it going. So we kept it going for 2 years before they actually dropped Clifton. So right now there's no more Clifton High School. We used to be called Clifton Trojans. We had so much pride. We have to have bands. We have to have, things that you don't have anymore. And we kind of disappointed we don't have it anymore. But we still have Clifton as a community. And those are things that you probably will never see again in your life, But I was just part of it. So Charlie was a good man. So I'm just going to say real quick that thank you very much for being part of this Hall of Fame. I am from Pueblo High School. People that did help me, that were my inspiration, will always be part of my life. Mr. Gleason, I know John pretty good because I used to throw against his team when I was younger. And we had pretty good games. And I was lucky enough that I could throw the ball pretty good. I had a pretty good little curveball that got me into the Hall of Fame and got me a full right to play baseball. And that's how I met a lot of people. And as coaches, that's all you ask for, is to make an impact on young kids as part of your life, and also be part of their life too, because sometimes if a lot of times you're their parents, because you kind of see them more than your parents actually see them. So I was just been blessed, and thank you very much. I appreciate everything you guys have done for me. Thank you.